Well, the 2026 FIFA World Cup continues, and tonight we're going to see a tale of what happened some 24 years ago when Senegal played their first ever FIFA World Cup game against France in 2002 at Japan, Korea. And of course, may he rest in peace, the late Papi Bouba Diop scored the only goal of their game when Senegal played against France in the 2002 World Cup. And of course, that was Senegal's first ever World Cup appearance. And Senegal took the world by surprise. They took the world by storm by making it all the way into the quarterfinals of the competition in their maiden or debut World Cup appearance. I mean, it was an indicative of very good Senegalese team. I mean, during the days of El Hadji Diouf, the likes of Kalilou Fadiga, the likes of Henry Camara, the likes of Salif Diao, Papi Bouba Diop, Ferdinand Koli, Omar Daf, goalkeeper Tony Silva, led by the late Bruno Metsu, and it was indeed a great Senegalese team. And interestingly, the man on the touchline for Senegal tonight, Papi Thiaw, was an integral member of the figure, was an integral figure of the team, even though he wasn't part of the guys who command starting lineup within that setup. And of course, another man on the touchline for the French team, that is Didier Deschamps, was the captain of the French national team during time. And if we all gonna remember, the French team entered into that competition as the defending champions of the world after winning the 1998 edition on home soil in the 1998 World Cup. And that leads us into the preview of the game between France and Senegal in Group I. It promised to be a cagey encounter, a match that everyone might try as much as possible to watch the game because it's going to be mouth-watering, it's going to be pacey, it's going to be tense, the momentum is going to be higher. There is never going to be a breathing space for every player on the setup. For France, they entered into this competition as one of the huge favorites. And of course, in the last two editions of the World Cup, they were champions in 2018, they were runners-up in 2022. And of course, Kylian Mbappe, the leading marksman, has been the man who has scored 12 goals in his last two World Cup tournaments. And interestingly for me, I see him ending up as the all-time top scorer in the history of the World Cup going forward because based on the fact that just only two World Cup tournaments, he's managed to score 12 goals. And of course, Kylian Mbappe will be leading the French team. A 12 game. How is the French team going to line up? Initially, it was reported that William Saliba might struggle to play in the World Cup due to the injury or knock he had in the final between Arsenal and PSG, but he was later on cleared and was declared fully fit, trained in some couple of days now ahead of that game against Senegal. And William Saliba is going to be one of the guys that the French team can trust at the back line. He, alongside Ibrahima Konate, who just signed for Real Madrid after leaving Liverpool on a free transfer, are got guys commanding the centre back, and probably Malo Gusto of Chelsea is likely to be the man on the right back, and either Lucas Digne or Theo Hernandez will be leading the left back of the French side. So, of course, you see the likes of Aurelien Tchouameni and then Adrien Rabiot, most of the tries playing the double pivot for the French national team. And of course, Michael Olise on the left. And then we're going to be seeing Ousmane Dembele on the right. Then, of course, Kylian Mbappe leading the line with Manchester City's Ryan Cherki just behind him. And it's indeed a great French side. For the Senegalese, I'm seeing goalkeeper Edouard Mendy in goal post. And of course, don't know whether Antoine Mendy will be given the opportunity to man the right side, or probably, I think it's likely going to be Crepin Diatta who will be leading that side of the right back. And of course, the Ismaila Jacobs will be on the left side. Probably Kalidou Koulibaly is going to be the man to captain the team, but I don't know who is going to partner him in the center of defense. Is it going to be Mamadou Sarr of Chelsea or Moussa Niakate of AS Monaco. The coach, Pape Thiaw, really trusts the young boy Lamine Camara. So it's likely Lamine Camara will be given the nod alongside Idrissa Gana Gueye as the double pivot within the Senegalese setup, with Iliman Ndiaye on the right, Sadio Mane on the left, and of course Nicolas Jackson leading the line. Just behind him is going to be Ibrahim Diarra. So the Senegalese team might be lining up in also a 4-3-3. But of course, don't forget Ibrahim Mbaye, the guy who switched his nationality from France to Senegal prior to the AFCON. And of course, it displayed a wonderful performance, top-notch performance, as Senegal were able to win the AFCON. Not forgetting Pape Alassane Gueye, who is also one of the guys who can surprisingly also take one of the starting lineup positions within the setup. It promised to be a KG encounter. Games like this makes it very, very difficult to predict because the Senegalese team is in top shape. And besides, they are not afraid to play anybody. They can match anybody based on the quality that they are having. The French team has top-notch quality. Of course, one of the overwhelming favorites to win the competition as the 2026 FIFA World Cup unfolds. For me, I definitely see the French team starting as favorite. But hey, don't be surprised if the Senegalese team shock the French team. And we've seen how African teams have also performed, with the exception of South Africa, and you can talk of Tunisia, who lost heavily in that 5-1 margin against Sweden. All the African countries who've played at least have performed creditably. You see Egypt drawing against Belgium. You see Morocco drawing against Brazil. And you saw the Ivory Coast beating Ecuador. So trust me, the Senegalese team also can match up the French team. And that is a take between France and Senegal as they head up in Group I opener. And of course, we're going to be seeing Norway, who are also making a return in the World Cup since 1998. They are meeting an opponent who are also making a return into the World Cup for the first time in 40 years, and that is Iraq. Norway might be one of the dark horses within this competition based on the quality that they are having. They have very good players in terms of the front three. I mean, having Erling Haaland, having the likes of Antonio Nusa, and then you're going to talk of Alexander Charlotte of Atletico Madrid. Behind them is going to be Martin Odegaard, the captain of Arsenal, Sander Berge of Fulham, and of course, Ausins of Benfica. A really strong team. At the back line, the likes of Christophe Aja of Brentford are going to be Oscar Bov of Manchester City, Julian Reising of Borussia Dortmund. So they have some great players, top-notch players who are playing high-quality football, top-notch leagues, one of the high-profile leagues in Europe. So it tells you that you cannot downgrade the Norwegian side as they enter into the World Cup. Iraq played more qualifiers than any other country in this 2026 World Cup. They played 21 games from the first round of group stages in Asia to the second, to the third, to the playoffs of Asia before making an appearance in the Interconfederation playoffs, where they defeated Bolivia to secure their chances of being in the 2026 World Cup for the first time since 1986. And that was the last time the Iraqi team appeared on the global stage. And of course, they are being led by Graham Arnold, the likes of striker Ayman Hussein, and then Hakam Hashim Taha, and then you're going to see how they're going to match up the Norwegians. But I see the Norwegian team starting as favorites based on the fact that they've got huge quality. And of course, the likes of Erling Haaland, Alexander Charlotte, the likes of Antonio Nusa, and to me, Martin Odegaard will try as much as possible to hunt the Iraqi team. This has been the World Cup 2026 preview in Group I on Podcast with Awa. Thank you.